Oh yeah, what's up everybody? Frank Red, live and direct here in the Dungeon program on YouTube. I want to thank you first and foremost for checking us out as we start to build this particular program in the Dungeon show. I've gotten a lot of reps over the past 6 or 7 months, kind of doing my thing on some other people's show, and I'm so grateful to have that opportunity. And I will continue to do that, but having the opportunity to build this particular show from scratch is truly an honor. And excuse me, I've been under the weather a little bit. And also, it's just my tip of the hat to other content creators out there who are doing their things, talking about various subjects, because it's not easy. A lot of people think, oh yeah, I can start a YouTube show and make $1 million and I'll be on Spotify. Good luck with that, all right? It doesn't happen that way. You gotta really be a grinder, and you gotta be passionate about what you do. I'm very passionate about what I do when it comes to sports, hip-hop music, things happening in our society. I'll talk about it, you know? So if you step in the chat and you have a question for me, I'll certainly give you my opinion on that particular subject matter. But the focus of what I like to do is talk about sports and hip-hop music, all right? This is the In the Dungeon show. We don't have a defined schedule in terms of when we're gonna do shows. We will start to do that, but this is more inspirational. You know, it's 12 o'clock at night where I am. I don't know what time it is where you are, but this is just me getting my reps up, you know what I'm saying? Hit me up at Big Frank Red on Twitter. I'm starting to build that up as well, and I love talking to folks. So if you have something to say, to reach out, something I said, or you want to respond to me in any way, feel free to do that, all right? And that's at Big Frank Red. Now, today's program, I'm going to talk about probably like 5 different topics. So I'm going to spread it around a little bit. I did a lot of show prep leading up to this show, and I had to do a show because for the past couple of days, I don't know if I said it earlier, but I've been under the weather. But part of the process of getting well is getting these thoughts out there to the general public, right? Because there's a lot going on in the world of sports and in society in general. We all need diversions, right? I mean, when you think about some of the things that's happening in our society now, sports are more important now than maybe they've ever been before, all right? Now, at the top of the list is the NBA Finals. The Denver Nuggets lead the Miami Heat 2-1 in Game 3, in which Denver took a 2-1 lead. Jokic and Jamal Murray both had triple doubles, which is amazing. And you know, there's been a lot of conversation around the Joker and where he fits among the all-time great centers. And you know, I mean, I'm like, first and foremost, the guy is great, all right? And he's probably the most skilled offensive center that we've seen. But I'm hearing words like he's the best center of all time. And I'm like, what are you, 19? I mean, come on. Now, I understand that if you are a commentator, all right, or if you are pontificating about what you are seeing, you're only going off your frame of reference. And it's hard to really gauge how good somebody is watching tape. It is. The only player that I've been able to watch and kind of assess their greatness from watching film is Jim Brown. Since I was a kid, because Jim Brown wasn't playing when he was already done. But watching that tape of Jim Brown play football, that was enough for me to, over the years, conclude that he was the best running back in the history of the NFL, to me. Basketball is different. And, you know, because we're at an age where some of the great players of all time are so far removed from their playing days, smart, critical thinkers who have jobs as analysts, they rely on analytical data. And they look at the stats. and they try to draw connections between the stats and what's happening now. And the reality is, you can do that to a certain degree, but you kind of need it to be there. You know, it's kind of like, have you seen James Brown at the Apollo? Well, I saw a film. Not quite the same thing, you know? Have you ever seen Stevie Wonder live? Well, I heard his records, he's great. Not the same thing. Have you ever seen Prince live? Michael Jackson, Run DMC, LL Cool J. It's not the same thing. So I'm drawing parallels between music and sports because those parallels are real. All right, I'm Frank Red, everybody. This is In the Dungeon program. Hit me up at Big Frank Red on Twitter. Now, I'm also going to touch on the San Francisco Giants, who now have a record of 31-30. They've won 8 games straight. They swept the Colorado Rockies. They've won 16 out of 19 games in Colorado, right? And I'm giving my mea culpa right now, because before the season started, when the Giants were kind of playing around with Carlos Correa, whether or not they want to sign him, and they hyped up their fans and got them really excited, and then all of a sudden it was like, no, he didn't pass the physical. And then he went to New York and he didn't pass the physical. Well, guess what? He's hitting .210 for the Minnesota Twins. And everybody assumed, myself included, because I didn't do my homework. And I got to own that. I didn't do my homework. I should have known what the Giants had in the farm system. I should have known that maybe there was a chance that they would play better than they looked on paper. Or maybe I wasn't able to assess their talent. But after 61 games, 1/3 of the season, they are a respectable 31-30. They have the 3rd highest earned run average among their pitching staff. It's at a 4. It's not great, but comparatively speaking to the competition, pretty darn good. As a team, they're batting .250, which is not spectacular. I think that's 8th in the National League. But here's the big one. They got 78 home runs. Nobody saw the Giants hitting the long ball this year like that. Correa had 7 home runs and 25 RBIs. Imagine if the Giants were paying this guy $30, $40 million a year, hitting .210 with 7 home runs and 25 RBI. People had Gabe Kapler, the manager, out of here on a college tour playing James Taylor covers. That's what they thought of him. And, he's a little different, but I gotta tell you, man, he's done a hell of a lot better than people thought that he would. No question about that. So I'm gonna lay back, listen to some of the experts, continue to do my homework, and I think they're a 500 team. That's what I think. Now, 500 team to me, if you're a baseball fan, is respectable. It's respectable. They got a great park. If it's sunny and it starts to heat up a little bit, you can go out there and have a great time. The teams that have the best players win. But there is a level of respectability that every team should strive to get to. And I think that the Giants have done that this year. So I want to give them some props for that. And if you're a diehard Giant fan and you want to talk about it, I'm a little more up to date on what's going on now, so you can hit me up about that. Michael Conforto, 11 home runs. That popped out at me. The Oakland A's. The Oakland A's won 2 straight. They're 14-50. But that's not the story. The story is John Fisher, the owner of the Oakland A's, who, in my opinion, has not negotiated fairly with the city of Oakland, the historic city of Oakland that is synonymous with the Oakland A's. One of the most loyal fan bases in all of sports are in Oakland, California, all right? And they want their team to remain here in the Bay Area. And I don't think that this owner has negotiated fairly with them. He thought that he would simply move the team to Vegas, like the Raiders left. And from the Raiders' perspective, you know what? The Raiders have such a big fan base. I don't care if the Raiders left. I don't, because if you're a Raider fan, you're still a Raider fan. As a matter of fact, a lot of people, I'm sure, like to travel from the Bay Area to Vegas for the weekend just to check their team out. I have no problem with that. But the Oakland A's, and they're trying to siphon money from the residents of Las Vegas. They're asking the Las Vegas politicians to sign off on giving John Fisher $400 million to build a $1.5 billion ballpark that has a maximum capacity of 30,000. That's a no-go as far as I'm concerned. You know, if John Fisher really wants the A's out of Oakland, that's all good. Build your own damn stadium. You got $2.2 billion. Build your own stadium. But to ask the residents of Las Vegas, who have a hockey team that's in the Stanley Cup Finals, that has a WNBA team that is coming off a title, right? There's already a successful sporting entity in Vegas. It's called the NBA Summer League, right? And you have the Raiders. They don't need the Oakland. They don't need the A's in Las Vegas. They don't. I don't care if it's a retractable roof or whatever the case. They really don't need this team. Now, if they want it, then pay for it yourself. I think the politicians now, on several occasions, have decided not to vote on this issue because they're thinking among themselves, do I want to ruin my political career? You know? Do I really want to do that when a team is 14-50 and the park is going to be there in 2027? There's no guarantee this team's going to be any good. None at all. None at all. So as far as I'm concerned, it's a bad deal. And I think that they should negotiate, I think they should restart the negotiation with the mayor of Oakland and see if they can't get something done. I'm sure they can build a beautiful ballpark. You know, with the Warriors and the Oakland Raiders leaving, the whole city of Oakland and surrounding areas, I'm sure, would wrap their arms around this team again like they have for the past 40, 50 years. So I want that to happen. And if the Oakland A's decide to leave Vegas, then from a resident's perspective, I don't live in Vegas, but some of the same issues that were relevant here in Oakland are relevant in Las Vegas. Stop trying to screw fans. Stop. I mean, if you're a billionaire, build your own park. One of the reasons why, one of the reasons why the Golden State Warriors have been so successful and the San Francisco Giants is because they built their own parks. You know, they knew the strife that they could potentially have, and they built their own parks. I think that's the way to go. So, it's good news for Oakland that the committee in Las Vegas has continued to not vote on this issue. And if I am the owner of the Oakland A's or the president or anybody associated with trying to get this measure moved forward so they can collect $500 million, it's pretty dubious. that you can't do it right now. So we'll keep our eye on that, but that needs to be brought to attention, because I don't think they really negotiated fairly with Oakland. They kind of play cat and mouse with them, I think, to position themselves more favorably with the government in Las Vegas. And now I think everybody's starting to realize that having a Major League Baseball team that we have to partly finance, it's not the best thing for us at this particular time. We'll see how it turns out. Another story that is in the news today is the Phoenix Suns potentially might cut Chris Paul. Now, I get it. Chris Paul's 38 years old. His contract is for, I think, $30 million. $15 million is guaranteed. They can cut him and pay him $15 million, and they won't have to pay the other $15, and he'll be free to go and sign with somebody else. He can still play, all right? We know 7, 8, 9 years ago, there was a deal for Chris Paul to be traded to the, probably about 10 years ago now, traded to the Los Angeles Lakers when he was a member of the New Orleans, I believe they were Hornets at that particular time. And David Stern said, no way, that's not going to happen. So he never became a Los Angeles Laker. He never teamed with Kobe Bryant, which would have been interesting to see. It's logical to kind of read into the connection between Chris Paul and LeBron James, because it's there. And I got to think that, yeah, you want to play with your brother. At the same time, I think Chris Paul still has a lot of basketball left. He lives in Los Angeles. His family's there. It makes a lot of sense. And the other thing about Chris Paul, he's already played with Dennis Schroeder, all right? They played together in Oklahoma for OKC, and they played well together. They actually made the playoffs. That was the year that Westbrook went to Houston. So I think that combination of Chris Paul and Dennis Schroeder would be pretty solid, actually. Bring back Austin Reeves, and I think their backcourt would almost be solidified. That means that you wouldn't bring back D'Angelo Russell. And I don't think they want to bring him back anyway. I just don't. Based on how he played in the playoffs, is he a scrub? No, he's not a scrub. He's actually an above-average player who can put numbers up. And kind of play with anybody, which is why D'Angelo Russell going somewhere else, I don't think it even matters that much. I think he's a guy who has enough basketball sense that he can pretty much play in any system. But I don't think he's a top-flight point guard that's going to challenge for a championship. I just don't believe that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he'll wind up in Phoenix. Who knows? Who knows? But I don't think that D'Angelo is going to be on the Lakers next year. So, you want to talk about the prospects of Chris Paul going to the Los Angeles Lakers? We can do that as well. This is In the Dungeon program. My name is Frank Red. You can hit me up at @BigFrankRed on Twitter. All right. I think the comment line is open here on YouTube if anybody's up. And you got something to say, you can reach out to me as well. The NBA draft is coming up on the 22nd of June. It's going to be really, really interesting because with all of these other sports entities, the G League Leagues, the overdrives, players playing in Australia, European players deciding not to play in college, just coming over. So much speculation. And nobody really knows. People know that Victor Wembanyama is going to be a great player. I also think Scoot Henderson is going to be terrific. Brandon Miller, the forward out of Alabama, who is ultra talented. We've seen ultra talented players come through the NBA before. I hope nothing but the best for this young man. But if I'm the Charlotte Hornets, it's not even a question who I'm drafting. I'm drafting Scoot Henderson so fast, I might trip on the way to shake Adam Silver's hand to let them know backstage or whatever. I might fall down. That's how fast I want to let this guy know that Scoot Henderson is the person who I'm going to draft. I think he's going to be a bona fide star. He kind of reminds me of Isaiah Thomas, the original Isaiah Thomas. Kind of a bigger Isaiah Thomas, just a natural leader, quick, tough, fast, athletic. And it doesn't matter if he and LaMelo Ball kind of play the same position. It doesn't really matter. If you go back to high school and you watch LaMelo Ball play, he was most exciting when he was lifting three-pointers from 25 feet, not having all of those ball handling responsibilities. And he can still do that. I mean, I think it would be interesting and fun to watch LaMelo Ball and Scoot Henderson play together. I mean, going back literally to the Detroit Pistons days where you had Isaiah Thomas and you had Joe Dumars. Isaiah Thomas was the quote point guard, but Dumars can run the offense. You know, Isaiah could get it anytime he needed to. So having that balance among backcourt players when it's not forced, when both players have the ability to initiate offense, I think is a good thing. I also think that Scoot Henderson is a better defender than Melo Ball, and I think as a result, he will push him to be even better. So, you know, there were rumors a couple of months ago, that Michael Jordan was interested in selling the Hornets. Getting the number 2 pick with the opportunity to draft a player like Scoot, I think that might change his mind. I don't know. Maybe he will sell the team. But I think the Charlotte Hornets, all things considered, are in a great position. So, now, there are other players in this year's draft that will be decent to better than that outside of the first round. And, you know, for teams that have been able to amass so many picks, those second round picks, like OKC, I'm sure has a lot of picks, that's going to benefit them. You know, for a team like the Golden State Warriors, who have had success in the past finding those diamonds in the rough, they're in a tough situation because they don't have any second round picks. And one of the things that the Warriors have done in the past, to various levels of success, is buy second round picks. They bought a second round pick last year and drafted the kid Ryan Rollins. I believe out of Toledo, I think that's right. He got hurt. We really didn't get a chance to see him. This summer's going to be big because I think that they definitely need him to perform, but they would love to have a second round pick this year because there are a lot of good players. Young man Emoni Bates, 6'9", 6'10", kid out of Detroit area. We know that he's had some challenges in his basketball journey. Do your own research, you want to find out what they are. But we also know that he's ultra talented. And I don't like to see young people fail. I like to see young people be successful. So I am rooting for him. And I'm hoping that he goes to an organization that has excellent culture and excellent character. And hopefully he'll get drafted. I mean, to that particular organization. But I can see a scenario in which he's not drafted. And because organizations just simply don't want to take a chance. You know, they want him to earn everything. And I don't necessarily see anything wrong with that. Because once you're in camp, your talent, your personality, your professionalism, all of those variables will determine where you start your journey and how long your journeys last in the NBA. So keep your eye on Emoni Bates. Now, from the Golden State Warriors perspective, one second. Notice my New York Knicks cup. Yes, I'm a New York Knicks fan. Well, Clyde Frazier, all right? John Starks. Let's start there. From the Golden State Warriors perspective, I think they should draft Leonard Miller, a young man who played for G League Elite, 6'9", 6'10". Kind of reminds me of Lamar Odom. He's not Lamar Odom, I'm not saying that. But he kind of has that type of game where he's really not a power forward, he's not a small forward. He can do all of those. He has the requisite skills of both positions. And I really like that because the Warriors need somebody to come in and play right away. And I think at 19 he's probably going to be there. So, I think Derek Lively, young freshman, 7'1" freshman coming out of Duke, I thought that he might be somebody who the Warriors might take a look at. But I think he's had some really good runs in camps. And at this point, I think that he's probably going to go a little higher. So I don't know if he'll be on the board when the Warriors play, but I think Leonard Miller will. Jalen Hood Shapiro out of Indiana, another guard who I like, going on the premise that the Warriors trade Jordan Poole. If the Warriors keep Jordan Poole, I don't think they should draft a guard. I think they should look for another veteran like a DiVincenzo. Not that you're going to find it. I think Dante's going to find greener pastures elsewhere and make more money. I couldn't be happier for him. He contributed last year to the Warriors mightily, and to me, more importantly, he played like a Warrior. He fit into their culture very seamlessly. It was almost like you were watching him in Villanova, and they have great culture there. So that was one of the highlights, I think, of actually watching the team last year, was watching Dante DiVincenzo play. I think he's doing a nice bag somewhere else. So I'm happy for him, man. All right? My name is Big Frank Red. This is the In the Dungeon program. You can hit me up at Big Frank Red on Twitter. If you like the program, just hit the subscribe button. I'm happy about that. We're trying to run those numbers up on Twitter as well. So if you like what we're doing here and you feel like you want to converse, you can follow me there. I do follow back. And if you like the program, just subscribe as well. All right? Sacramento Kings fans, I haven't forgot about you. And in Sac, I'm down with you, man. I'm down. I really am. I like what's happening in Sac. I got a lot of friends associated with that organization that really love that team, and that market is so loyal, and they got a good team. But the Sacramento Kings cannot rest on their laurels. They can't. It's a year-to-year proposition, and the feel-good story that the Sacramento Kings were last year, that's over. You're now the hunted. You were the number 3 seed in the Western Conference. Everybody knows how good you are. You're $50+ million under the threshold of the salary cap. Now, granted, you have some players that you need to possibly re-sign. Trey Lyles. I mean, if I'm the Kings, I'm like mid-level exception. 7 million, 7 to 9, something like that. But there comes a point where, he becomes too big a meal for the Kings to swallow. But he's a good player, and I think he fits into their culture. They got the 24th pick. They're slated by a lot of draft boards to draft the kid Clowney Noel Clowney, I believe his name is, out of Alabama. 6'10", athletic, can score a little bit. I wouldn't have a problem with that. Oh, also Chris Murray, Keegan's brother, I think will be on the board at 24 also. And it might be interesting to pair those two guys together. They had great success in Iowa playing together, and they know each other. So I don't think he's Keegan, but he's definitely a good player. So from a draft perspective, that's what I'm looking at from the Sacramento Kings. Now, the big topic with the Kings is how do they get better? And I looked it up tonight. I can't believe that Harrison Barnes is only 31 years old. This is like Harrison Barnes' 10th or 11th year. And it feels like his 14th or 15th year. But he's only 31 years old. That's it. And he had a good year last year. Averaged 15 points a game. Shot, 47% from the field. Mid to high 30s from three-point range. He balled out. But he's a streaky player. And I think they can do better. Now, every now and then I put this name on Twitter, and overwhelmingly I think the Sacramento Kings fans want nothing to do with Dillon Brooks. Formerly of the Memphis Grizzlies, who I think kind of jumped the gun and was like, we're not going to sign this guy in any circumstance. They might have backed off a little bit on that now. I don't know. But Dillon Brooks, in spite of what the masses might think, is a valuable commodity in the NBA. Now, does he say things that are ridiculous? Yes, he does. He does. Should he have confronted LeBron like that? I don't think so. I mean, let your game go out and speak, man. I mean, LeBron's a legend. You're not a legend. If you could be 1/3 as good as LeBron James, you would have had an incredible career. So I didn't like to see that. I don't think you gave him any edge going into that series. As a matter of fact, I think it hurt his team. With that said, Dillon Brooks is one of the best two-way players in the NBA. He's not a great offensive player. He's solid, but he's one of the best defenders in the NBA. And I think that when you are the Sacramento Kings, you don't have a shot blocker in Domantas Sabonis, who's primarily a scorer and a rebounder and a screen setter. You need somebody like Dillon Brooks who has that type of defensive versatility. And I think that, he's a guy who's only going to, I wouldn't pay him more than $20 million. $20 million is nothing to sneeze at. But this is the NBA. I would look at somewhere between 16 and 20 million on a 3 or 4 year deal. And the Kings, again, they're $50,000 below the threshold. All right. My man Mark Graves he has a question about Dillon Brooks. He says, does his talking and his dangerous plays cost him in free agency? Absolutely. Of course it does. You could argue that Dillon Brooks is a $25 million player based on production on the court, but his antics and I think it's goofy. I don't think it's immaturity. I think the guy's just goofy. I think he says some things that's just totally ridiculous. But I believe in Mike Brown as a head coach. I also think that De'Aaron Fox is willing to let everybody know that this is his team. And I think that Mike Brown is going to empower him. And I think Domantas Sabonis is also another leader. So I like their leadership. I like Monk. I like Herter. I like their team. And I don't think that they will let anybody come in and blow that thing up. I don't believe it. And then at the same time, I'm comfortable bringing Harrison Barnes back at half his salary. This dude's made a lot of money. And I still think $10 million is a lot of money, which is I don't think is an absurd salary for him either. Particularly when this team is in the fiscal shape that they're in. They won't have to pay Keegan Murray for another 2 or 3 years. So the money's there. They're going to pack that place. Golden One Arena is one of the best arenas in the NBA. To me, it has better sightlines than any other arena in the NBA. It is outstanding. And they're going to pack that sucker. So they're going to make some money. So money is really not the issue as far as I'm concerned. So that's my take on it. I would love to hear reasons why Dillon Brooks should not be considered beyond, his antics. Talk about basketball. Tell me from a basketball perspective why he's not a good fit. And I think he is a good fit. All right. Frank Red, but that was taken. So I had to get Big Frank Red a lot of years ago too. I didn't even use it, but I am big. But you can hit me up on Twitter at Big Frank Red. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you like what you're listening to. And again, my whole thing is to come on and talk about sports and get my reps up, man. I'm a ball player. I played Division I basketball. I played football also in college. So sports are very, very important to me. And you don't get better at this game without practicing. I'm also a rapper, also. And actually, I'm going to finish my theme song to this particular show on the 19th. I got a studio date on June 19th. I am so excited about that because the theme song is already done. I just got to go and record it. Any and everything that I've ever done in life, you got to practice. You must practice, particularly if you have any respect for the competition, which I do. Anybody who's good at anything works their tail off. Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. All right? Now, I also want to chime in about what took place with the PGA and Live Golf. I guess the Saudi Arabia-backed golf organization that was mining the PGA for some of their better players. Phil Mickelson, Koepka, Dustin Johnson, just to name a few. There's so many. And I think when Koepka won a major this year, that was kind of in the face of the PGA because it said, it doesn't matter if I play on the live schedule, the live tournaments, or if I play the PGA, I'm going to win. And what came out of this fiasco to me, with these two organizations merging together, is I'm now a Rory McIlroy, a Rory McIlroy fan. Was never a hater. I like him. But now I'm a fan because he showed that he has principle. And I think he was very logical. He was very logical in his explanation. He said, check this out. Long term, this is good for golf. And how could it not be good for golf? I mean, I just threw out a number like $5 billion. The Saudis have a $600 billion investment fund. And we don't know the percentages that they were able to get from the PGA. It's almost irrelevant. But to say that they contributed $3 to $5 billion to get some level of ownership is not absurd at all. And maybe it's worth, and maybe even more than that. And when you look at the pending litigation that was about to happen, they could have bankrupted the PGA. They really could have. $600 billion. So The PGA, despite what they were saying publicly, they had a monster in front of them from a legal perspective. And even if they, quote, won, I don't know what the damages would have been, but there was no guarantee they were going to win that. None at all. So I think that from a fiscal perspective, a business perspective, they did what they needed to do. What they didn't do is they did not handle this well. They didn't trust their players. Yes, Mark Graves says that the Saudis could buy every sport if they wanted to. You're absolutely right. And thank God, Mark, that some organizations do have a level of integrity, and they wouldn't sell to them, period. You know, they wouldn't sell to them. And I think that there's something to be said for that. You know, there's something to be said for sports organizations and the families and the fans that support them to have their principles aligned. I don't think that's too much to ask. I don't, and regardless of how much money is out there. You know, how many times have we seen billionaires die filthy rich? That's kind of a redundant statement. How many times have we seen people of great wealth die when we know that they would take every dime that they had to cure them of whatever illness or whatever situation they were in? And I think about Steve Jobs a lot, because Steve Jobs is truly one of the great visionaries. I mean, he was an innovator. He was an innovator also, but he was a visionary. I think even more than an innovator, because he put really talented people together to create magic. And because of that, he made a lot of money. Billionaire. And there were reports, I don't know if this is true or not, but I mean, to find a cure for the level of the cancer that he had, you know, I've read things that says that maybe if, you know, the process of dealing with his illness had it been different, then maybe he would have lasted longer, maybe still be alive today. I don't know. The point that I'm making is that money is a tangible thing, right? You know, none of us are taking money to the grave with us. None of us. You know, when we were kids, the idea of going to a buffet and just kind of, you know, leaving the place without any food was exciting. Now, at this stage of our lives, as we get older, we just want one meal, one nice meal that does what it's supposed to do. Go in and then go out. And we're happy. We can't eat all that food. We can't drive all those cars. You know? You can't walk up all those stairs in the mansions that people buy. Just want peace. Watch a game. Chill with your loved ones. Give some of the knowledge that you have acquired and wisdom to other people for the next generation. That's life. So, I would be highly upset if any of the organizations that I really care about sold themselves out for money. I believe the NBA is really passionate about servicing their fan base of all ethnicities. Of all ethnicities. You know, I've been covering, you know, professional sports for a long period of time, over 20 years. And I remember a situation where I had, excuse me, an interaction with a professional team, an NBA team. And I was coaching high school basketball. And, you know, the high school had several gyms, but one of the gyms was just horrific. They had wood backboards that were just decrepit. And this organization came in through their nonprofit and put up fiberglass backboards for free based on my relationship with them. It couldn't have been more gracious and more happy to do that. So my point is, like, when you see, the NBA playoffs and all of a sudden they'll go into a community and they'll have like a new after school center, or they'll dedicate another basketball court. That's not Hollywood, that's real. I honestly believe that they care about their fans. I really do. And that builds a kinship to me as a fan to that organization, because I've personally dealt with it, and I know that they like to do good work in the community. I mean, from the PGA's perspective, I'm not surprised they went for the money, because I don't feel the same allegiance to the PGA that I do about other sports. I just don't. I mean, and the optics will tell you why. It doesn't mean they're bad. It doesn't mean that they are not good people. It doesn't mean that they don't care. But they don't care as much. It's not priority number one. I was a caddy for 10 years, so I know the game of golf very well. The idea of dedicating a little bit of golf time so kids can go out there and kind of figure out what it feels like to swing a golf club. I mean, yeah, okay. The PGA, to me, should be funding college programs like Stephen Curry's doing. And if that's against the rules, then change the rules. They should be doing work like that. If they really want to grow the game, I identify programs at the high school level, the college level, and I assume they are doing that somewhere. But it's not wide. I don't believe it's wide ranging. I don't believe that. But that is a way that they could really show that, hey, we want to be connected to the community, because I don't feel that. Maybe they'll do it now. They have a hell of a lot more money. So, I mean, to see the apologize for this. To see Monahan's quotes from 6 months ago, the president of the PGA, commissioner president, to see him talk 6 months ago, to see him talk a couple of days ago after they've cemented the deal with LIV, could you be that person? I couldn't be that person. I was like, nah, man, I ain't doing that, man. No way in hell am I doing that. No way am I going to do that. And then come out of the meeting with the players and say, yeah, it was heated. Heated? It was an inferno. A lava bath. That was not heated. That was Mount St. Ellen, man. But guess what? He probably got a raise, so he's happy. This is in the Dungeon Program. I'm Frank Red, all right? Hit me up at Big Frank Red on Twitter, and subscribe to the program if you like what you're listening to. We're jumping around talking about a lot of different things tonight because it's all topical to me. Yeah, I have sports that I like, that I participated in, that I'm passionate about, but I like them all, really. I didn't watch the entire hockey game, but I did get a chance to watch the playoffs. Overtime tonight between the Florida Panthers and the Las Vegas Golden Knights. And the Florida Panthers came back home and got them one. All right? Who's that? I'm going to butcher this cat's name. Carter Vahagu? Carter Vahagu. I'm sorry, dude. My bad. I apologize. If you were in front of me, I would probably get your name right. A lot of vowels in that name. A lot of vowels. I apologize. I have an idea. Anybody who has a name that is hard to pronounce, there should be some type of button or something that pronounces the name for you so you can get it right. All right, help us out. But on the first shot of overtime, he scored a goal. He put it through the nets, and that was beautiful. So now, Las Vegas has a 2-1 lead over the Florida Panthers. Both teams have an opportunity to win Stanley Cup. So I'll keep my eye on it. I'm not trying to say that I'm the biggest hockey fan in the world, because I'm not. But I respect the game. Growing up on Long Island, I played lacrosse 1 year. We actually were undefeated. When I was in 7th grade, 8th grade. Lacrosse is big on Long Island. Tremendous. And there was a gentleman in my hometown who did a great job with building programs for lacrosse, and a lot of good teams. But I learned the game of lacrosse and played it 1 year. You might have guessed I played defense, So that was fun. But yeah, hockey is in full effect. I think the thing about hockey that I like is that they finally got the TV stuff right. It was kind of weird seeing hockey on NBC and some of the Peacock channel, and I mean, it didn't work right. Now, with ESPN and TNT working together for hockey and basketball, it's seamless. They're not competing with each other. It's different content, it's different programming. When the NBA's not playing, hockey's playing. There's a hockey game on. Yes, Dan, I'm live on Twitter. Yes, I am live. What's up, my brother? How you doing? Dan Coach Amelia, NorCal Sports Network. Check him out. Make sure you subscribe to his YouTube channel. This brother knows baseball. Dan, let me tell you something, brother. I actually have already given my mea culpa when I talked about the Giants. We were on a Krug show. I didn't know what I was talking about. And it just goes to show you got to do your homework. I'm starting to do my homework now. And guess what? The Giants are not as bad as people thought they were going to be. They're third in the National League in ERA, an earned run average. They have 78 home runs. Nobody saw that coming. Nobody. They strike out a lot. But I think all things considered, to be 31-30 at this juncture of the season, I think people would have to be surprised by that. And who knows? Maybe there's a trade or two out there that's going to help this team maybe be in contention for one of the wild cards. You never know. But this is a season that I don't think people anticipated after 61 games the Giants would be over 500. I don't think people saw that happening. So I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed. I really was. But now I'm not. I'm doing my homework now. And I'm starting to get reacquainted with Major League Baseball. What about that kid, Elly De La Cruz on the Cincinnati Reds? Woo! Combination of Dave, the Cobra. I can't think of his name right now. Not Willie Stargell. I can't think of his name right now. That dude has an incredible swing. I have to check him out. Fans are upset that there are... Yeah, I mean, Mark said fans are upset that there are no stars on the Giants. You know why there are no stars on their team, Mark? Because they don't develop stars. Although they got a couple young players. Let me stop that again. Right? Let me stop. Dave Parker. There you go. There you go. He holds his bat high like Dave Parker. And he gets through the zone so beautifully. You remember when Dave Parker would hit those line drive shots? I mean, he would take you out of the park, but outfielders were almost afraid to catch his balls, because he hit lasers. This De La Cruz kid, I'm just disappointed that the Cincinnati Reds were the ones that signed the kid. I wish it was the Giants or the A's or somebody like that, or the Yankees or the Mets, somebody who I like. Seems like the Dodgers are always getting those types of players, but that kid, what a swing, man. What a swing. So yeah, I tip my hat to the San Francisco Giants. More than the Giants, I'm happy for their fans because it's not a wasted afternoon to go out and watch this team play. Even to this afternoon, I'm watching the game. They're down 4-1 against Colorado and late, and you're like, well, it's over. No, it's not over. It's not over. They rallied, they scraped, they came back, and Crawford, one of my favorite Giants of all time, came through late. Against Josh Peterson also, right? Yeah. I mean, this team is scrapped pretty good. And Gabe Kapler's, he's kind of quirky. Yeah. I had a line earlier in the program. I said that people thought at this stage of the year he would be gone and on his college tour singing covers of James Taylor songs. But no, in his own way, and he's already gone to the playoffs. In his own way, he's getting his team to play good baseball. So definitely want to big him up for that. Now, I'm going to give you guys a name of a rapper. And some of you guys might not be into hip-hop, and that's okay. But the rapper that I want to name, he's probably like a household name to people who are into the music. But not really. His name is Ransom. And not on a major label, but truly one of the most skilled rappers in the game right now. And he's been that way for a long period of time. But listening to interviews and just kind of like getting his vibe, it's like, yo, he's making the music that he wants to make. He's putting it out when he wants to put it out. And it doesn't matter if it's on a major label or indie, it's really, really good. He has an album out, it's called Chaos Is My Ladder. Chaos Is My Ladder. And straight fire. You're talking about 30 minutes of just somebody dropping so much knowledge, you got to go and rewind it over and over again. And I'm going to spell his name again. He goes by Ransom. R-A-N-S-O-M. Ransom. All right? So check him out. If you're into hip-hop, then you probably already know what I'm talking about. If you don't, Google him. Go to YouTube and Google him. And go to Spotify, however you get your music. And just listen to it. Doesn't really matter the genre. It's the content that this guy is putting out there. Truly an inspiration to me as an artist myself. I really like what he's doing. Dan Coachimilla says the bullpen is becoming a real strength. The bullpen can take them a long way. Just need to shore up their defense and more consistent. Yeah, I would agree with that. And once again, I want you guys to go to NorCal Sports Network and subscribe to Dan Coachimilio podcast. It's one of the best out there covering the San Francisco Giants. I mean, if you're a baseball fan and a Giant fan particularly, you definitely want to subscribe to his podcast because it's one of the best. All right? Now, I told you guys at the beginning of this particular show, what I wanted to do is really get my reps up. How many people can talk for an hour by themselves? We're at 59 minutes now, all right? But everybody should be able to do it because you don't know who's talking, but somebody's listening. There's always somebody listening. You don't know who. So this particular format, until we ramp up the numbers a little bit to get people involved, and I'll start. I will not have a guest on my show until I have at least 100 subscribers. I will not have one guest on until I have at least 100 subscribers. That's how much respect I have for the listeners. And that's how comfortable I am talking myself to an audience about sports, about life, about music, about whatever the case. All right? Just keep that in mind. We will have some guests, but that will not happen until I have at least 100 subscribers. Appreciate you, Dave. It's all good, brother. All right. So, like I said, we were going to do this show for 60 minutes tonight. We covered a lot of ground. Game 5 of the NBA Finals. is tomorrow. I'm looking forward to that. A lot of people think the series, you have oh yeah, Mark said, have I tried coming on earlier, like 10 p.m.? I'll do that, brother. Again, this is really inspirational to me. The show will be broadcast between 9 and 10 o'clock. So I get everybody got to go to work, and that's good. This is really about me getting my reps in, and if people are up like you, like I told you before, brother, you go straight to the line. The people who rock with me early, I will never forget you. You don't know how important you are to me as a listener, as a viewer, as somebody who's supporting what I do. So yeah, the shows will get earlier. The shows will be broadcast earlier. There's no doubt about that. But right now, this is about getting my reps and just kind of talking to the people and letting you know that, yo, I can do this for an hour, 2 hours. Most people can't do that. Can you imagine? This is an hour. This is an hour, just me talking in a microphone covering all these topics, and we've already done an hour. That's what the greats do. That's what the pros do. So that's what I've done throughout my career. So when you have a captive audience, people who you can talk to right away, that's not very hard. It actually might be more entertaining, or if you got phone calls, or you're playing music, you're doing a bunch of things that make up the show. It brings it all together, but it's not real hard to do. It's not. This is a little more challenging, all right? Okay, so I'm gonna do my thing. I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna thank everybody who has participated. My man Mark, Dan, Coach Amelia, hit him up, NorCal Sports Network. Check out his podcast. It is outstanding. And anybody else who's listening who did not share your thoughts in the comment, I really appreciate you. All right? Success and getting paid is a manifestation of the whole process. If you as an individual don't do things to help other people make their lives better, as far as I'm concerned, you haven't done nothing. And I'm going to give you another one, too. Check this out. Humility will lead you to your destination, not a roadmap. Humility will lead you to your destination, not a roadmap. Good night, everybody. Peace.